Well, listen, this has never been a basketball town, so of course you have all these bandwagoners all pumped up, but they're all frauds, they're all phonies. There's no core fan base for the Timberwolves. So
and how about the Wild against the Jets? What's up with that?
Well, listen, people forget it's sneaking up on the fact that the Wild have been around almost 2 decades. I mean, it's about time they deliver and produce. So, I mean, they're locked into a rabid fan base, but definitely get let. I don't mean to insinuate I'm part of them, but their enthusiasm is tempered. But they definitely show up and are enthusiastic. But I don't know if they're setting their sights on advancing too deep.
All right. So in other words, then, despite the T-Wolves making the playoffs for the first time in eons, the Wild are still the story there, and as they should be. It's a hockey area. There's still the story there in Minneapolis.
No. Listen, I love the way you have these. You ask one person, like I could speak for a whole metro area, but no. There's undeniable enthusiasm for the Wolves. I'm just trying to say it's all stemming from a collection of frauds and phonies that are just trying to glom.
Well, all right. If I put on the talk radio today, and they got shows, if they put on sports shows today, they all talking T-Wolves Nuggets from last night or not?
Oh, I'm dialed in like a mental patient to your channel. So why would I sample inferior sports talk? They can't even get it right in New York. You think they get it right in Minneapolis? I'm going to waste enough of my time. Well,
in the future, Mario, give me a 10-minute recap on a day-in, day-out basis of that kind of stuff. That's all I'm asking. You could have stuck it on for 10 minutes today to get a little sense, right? You could have done that. No?
Now that you ask, I'm willing to accommodate. Now, listen, I got some points to make with you. Let the call breathe, because I'm very passionate about this. Forget the baseball brawls. Despite loving them, I'm all about the radio wars these days. And you're taking your foot off the gas. I want you to help sustain them. You expose yourself. When you get into that dust up with David Thiel.
I'm listening. Go ahead. The dust up with David Thiel. Fire away, Mario. Oh, we lost Mario. Mario bouncing around on a cell phone, and he gets nailed. We'll see if we can get him back. Larry in Sparta, New Jersey. Larry, good afternoon. How are you today? What do you have for me?
Hey, Mad Dog. Thanks for taking the call.
You got it, Larry.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I'm calling about the comments you just made a couple of minutes ago about the Wizards. It could not be further from the truth. The Beal and Wall, I've never seen a more inconsistent bunch. I can tell you, and I'm not even that impressed with the Raptors, but I don't see the
hold on now. What is Kyle? Hold on now. Time out. What has Kyle Lowry ever done in a big spot against Cleveland, for instance?
Well, they haven't played well. I'm not saying they're going to beat Cleveland, but I think they're going to beat the Washington Wizards. I don't see the Wizards winning a game.
They're going to win a game. They're not going to get swept. They're going to win a game.
Beal, that bunch have been very inconsistent. Very inconsistent bunch. That's for the Knicks and Jay Wright. Why would Jay Wright want to come to New York? The job for him to take is the Philadelphia 76ers
Larry, that job's not open right now. I mean, Brent Brown's done a good job. That job is not open. They just made the playoffs, won 50 games. They got a 17-game winning streak. I mean, come on. I mean, that job is the job that's open is the Knicks. It's not the Philadelphia 76ers. And again, that's the sort of job that he would take. Lakers would be another one. I don't know if he wants to live in L.A., but Lakers would be one. That kind of franchise that is a marquee franchise, attractive place to live. He's not going to go coach the Phoenix Suns. He's not doing that. He's going to take a job that is on. He's not going to go to Memphis. All right. He's going. That's the sort of job that Jay would take if he decided to take it, which I don't think he will. But obviously that's been discussed today, as you'd expect. There's Chris in Jersey, and he's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Christopher, welcome. How are you today?
Dog, how you doing today?
Fine, Chris. Nice to talk to you. What's on your mind now? What do you have for me?
Okay, 2 things quick. Have you heard your man Stern talking about Tunnel of Love album?
No, I have not.
By Bruce.
I have not.
He's been all over it.
I love the album, too. He's been talking about that album lately?
He's been talking about it nonstop, going over Brilliant Disguise. He's probably spent about 45 minutes just on Brilliant Disguise.
So basically, he hasn't, he probably didn't know the album when it came out in '88, so he's on top of it now.
He's been on Bruce ever since he saw the Broadway show. He's actually seen it twice.
Yeah, I know he has. So he's on Bruce since then, so he's into that. Okay, gotcha. Interesting.
Big time. Now, the other thing, I just wanted to commend you. I haven't gotten a chance to bring this up. I've called a couple of times, but you and Costas on those roundtables is, to me, as good as it gets when it's talking about baseball. I want to know if you guys had any discussions about maybe doing those maybe once a month during the season?
Well, first off, that's something that I'd love to do it. I don't know if Bob wants to come out with me every month. And Costas is doing 1 million games right now, Chris. He's doing all those games, so I don't know if his schedule allows. I'll say this, though, to be fair. I'll say this. I never thought in my life, and I know I love him, so that's part of it. I never thought in my life I would ever be in a media scenario. And I remember I talked to Costas for the first time you know what? It was 84. It may have been 83, but I remember the first time I had him in person was in Miami in January of 85, AFC Championship game, Patriots-Dolphins. So that's, 33 years ago? That's the first time in person. But I never thought then or any other place that I'd ever be on a scenario where I'm doing a panel with Bob Costas on baseball. So if Bob wants to do one, I'm quite receptive. Here's Gary in New Jersey. He's with us here on Mad Dog Unleashed. Gary, good afternoon. How are you today?
Hey, Mad Dog. How you doing?
All right, Gary, thank you. What's on your mind now? Fire away.
Good. Two things. One is, you tell me a business in America that puts inexperienced management in and then has a successful year. Any business in America. So I'm referring to Boone and I'm referring to Jeter. Okay, these clubs are going to have miserable years because the management has zero experience. Okay, that's number one. Second point is that you cannot tell me if baseball wants to protect their pitchers. My buddy Sky and I talk about this all the time, that you can have baseball or extra innings that go 12, 15, 18 innings, and then they get up the next day and have a 1 o'clock game. You got to have a tie scenario after 12 innings. What do you think of that?
Well, a lot of people have floated that idea of starting sort of like college football, in the regular season. The NHL has done this too. To get the games over with, you can make an argument there's a little bit of a deal with the NFL with the little wrinkle they have in overtime. There is a lot, which I like. There's a lot of people who have suggested that in baseball, to move the games along, they should start the extra innings. Maybe not start them, but maybe, as you said, the 11th or 12th inning, first and second, nobody on. And go from there. Now, I think they might do that in the minor leagues down the road. I don't think they're doing it right now. I think they might. And the idea there, of course, is to, preserve arms and keep the game, get away from the 20-inning game that lasts a quarter to 4 in the morning, at least in the regular season. There are people who think that. Now, the traditionalist in me says you can't, but I understand that there is some theme there that you could. It wouldn't be the end of the world, to be honest with you. It wouldn't be the end of the world. Mike in Vegas, he's with us here on Mad Dog Unleashed. Mike, good afternoon. How are you today? What do you have for me?
Good. How are you?
Hello, Michael. Nice to talk. What's happening now?
Yeah, big Mets fan. Very excited. 10-1. The team's great. I'm wondering what's going to happen when they have Vargas back. What they're going to do with all their pitchers. They're not hitting the ball too well, but they're just finding a way to win. And no one's talking about him, which is great.
Well, I wouldn't worry about Vargas when the Mets obviously had Wheeler go through the rotation with the big four for the first time ever. Well, really, basically ever. Yesterday, pitched well. Vargas has a broken hand, in his right hand. It sounds like he'll be back in a couple of weeks, thereabouts. Wheeler will get another start. You worry about Vargas when you worry about Vargas. My God. The Mets, I think they were due for some good luck. And they were due to, play well, get some health, because they never have any health and never have any good luck. So I am not completely surprised that they're off to this kind of start. And I think they're going to have, obviously, right now, you got to figure they're going to have a hell of a year. I mean, they swept. They just got 2 sweeps. They did it, obviously. They've won 9 straight games. They're 10-1. I mean, you got to figure the Mets will have a pretty good year here in New York. And, and right now there's no reason to think that they won't, based on what you've seen here early on in the year. They've done a hell of a job. Here's Mike in Southern Cal, and he's with us here. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Michael, good afternoon. How are you today?
Chris, how you doing, man?
Fine, Mike. Thank you. What's on your mind now? Shoot.
You know what, Chris? I just can't take Torre anymore. I'm sorry. I don't know. I just can't take the guy. The guy's talking about the Yankees. He's going to back to 1972 YouTube of this incident with the A's in Detroit.
the guy and Cannell, it's really, I mean, it's tough to listen to. I hate to say it. I know it's a serious show, but how did this guy ascend to this position?
Well, he's right. Mike.
Hi, Mike. What's the issue?
He's right here. You can ask him.
How are you? Go ahead, buddy.
Steve.
Hi, Mike.
I didn't
I
expect.
don't understand, man.
What's the problem? What's the problem?
Steve,
Yeah.
I just don't get your. I mean, listen, Chris has such a great show, but you and Danny, I don't know what's going on. I mean, today you're asking stuff to Danny. He's like, what's that again about the Warriors? It's like the connection sometimes is a little bit off, but your love of the Yankees, I mean, really, I could do a love of the Angels show just as well.
Well,
You know,
all right, hold on. All right, so may I respond?
Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. I didn't just focus on the Yankees because I like them today, although I will at times, to be quite frank. But are you telling me they weren't part of the news today with that brawl? I mean, Chris just told you if you were listening to the whole show, ESPN basically is showing it every 5 minutes. So I'm not entitled to talk about a fight between the Yankees and the Red Sox last night? That doesn't mean...
Yeah, you are, but you also made a comment like it's good for baseball.
No, it
It's
is.
not good for baseball.
Well,
fighting is not good for baseball.
Okay, well that's what's wonderful about our industry. You can have an opinion, and so do I, and I think it is good for baseball.
Two legends at once. Well, one legend and the other guy.
No, Michael, stop. He's our buddy, Mr. Torre.
It
is good for baseball.
Not everybody's going to fall in love with you. You got to understand that.
There is exposure all over the place. It's exposure they wouldn't have gotten. And as I've said 1,000 times, baseball right now is in a big situation. They got probably 10 or 12 teams in bad markets who stink. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh's off to a good start. Let's see more. Cincinnati,
9-3.
Pittsburgh, they won it today, right?
Yeah, they won already.
Tampa, Miami. There's a lot of markets. Texas is going to be terrible this year. Miami, we all know. There's a lot of cities out there that have bad teams, and when you have cities with bad teams, and then you play in 25-degree Kansas City is another one.
Right.
White Sox, and then you play in 25-degree weather. And you start before Easter, you're going to struggle at the gate. And baseball right now is in that scenario. So anything they could get that occurred this early in the year to bump the NBA off the back pages, I don't think they care that much about the NHL, but to bump the NBA off the back pages to, maybe get a little juice in towns that are all pumped up with the draft, they take. And I listen, they're not going to admit it. They can't.
Right.
But they loved. Not as much in Colorado. It's not a big deal to them. They loved what happened with these fights,
and always do. I mean, this has been going on forever. Where you have a bench clearing brawl in any sport. It's the first story on a highlight package. Usually, I mean, right?
People like to
especially
see
these two rivals.
They love to see fights. And as you said, this is the Yankees and the Red. It's the best baseball. Giants, Dodgers, Yankees, Red Sox, and the Yankees, Red Sox are bigger, so they can't give it to you any better than that.
That's right.
You made a great point. Kelly should have thrown back-to-back pitches at him. He threw a slider in between, which is out of line.
Yeah, that's what bothered me.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Look, I think if I were on the Red Sox side, there would be a lot of things that get me pissed off about how the Yankees conducted themselves last night, beginning with the slide. You could make the argument, was it the worst thing in the world? No. But was it a little rough and hard? Yeah. I mean, he went spikes high. Generally, you go spikes high, you got to expect to get hit. I mean, that's how it goes. But there were a lot of things in there on both sides that I thought was a little stupid.
Right. And the Padres are not wrong with the whole thing with the Rockies. I don't know if you
they got thrown at 3 times, right?
And not only that, they threw at Renfroe after they tried to get retribution with Trevor Story in the first inning, and then the Rockies turned around and threw at Renfroe.
Yeah.
Well, hold on now. You broke the kid's ribs the day before, for crying out loud, and then they try to get back at you. Story goes to first base, and it should be over, and then you make it worse by throwing at Renfroe at the top of the second inning. What'd you expect?
And McGuire and
McGuire said there, and I don't count, Nolan. 5 for us, 2 for you. Take it easy.
He's not wrong. To be honest with you,
he's not wrong.
But look, if you're involved with this kind of stuff, you get hit in the heat of the moment. Is it that's what I kept saying. You act differently in these kind of things. If you're Tyler Austin last night and you get drilled with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball in your hip. Could he have just walked to first base and kept his mouth shut? Yeah, but in the heat of the moment, can you blame a guy?
What he could have done, I don't mind him charging a mound. He could have at least said in the post game, at least take a little ownage in the slide. He made it sound like I did nothing wrong. It's the way I play the game. Oh, hold on now. Come on, Tout. Look at the highlights. Yeah. That's a bad slide.
No, you could make that.
First off, he went over the bag. You go over the bag, it's a bad slide. It's illegal.
Well, yeah.
You can't slide past the bag.
Under the terms now, that was an illegal slide.
I mean, he basically slid to the wall in left field.
But they made it sound like Hal McRae knocking Willie Randolph into left field.
That's not fair. Steve Torre is in the house today. Unshaven, glasses on, looks a little bit disheveled. Everything okay?
I'll be unshaven until, let's see, probably Saturday or Sunday. I go about a week.
Oh, you do? You go about a week.
That's what I do.
For a little stuff. All right, very good. You like a price in the NBA here that I don't know about? Which team would you take a run at? Pelicans, the Wizards.
I mean, realistically,
Indiana, Utah.
I can't make a case for any of those teams.
Well, Utah, you can make a case for Utah of Oklahoma City. That you can.
Well, just in the series you're talking about, or
plus
just making
120. Well, you can make a case. Utah could win that series. That's not impossible. You can make a case for Utah.
Yeah, no, I thought you meant just
Utah plus 120, Oklahoma City. You like it?
Yeah, that's not a bad one.
You think that's a 50-50 series?
Oh, Utah's got the extra home game.
No, Oklahoma City does.
I thought Utah started the series.
Okay, see, boys.
Well, why is that's right. They're the 5. They got the 5 seed, and Oklahoma City is the 4. The reason why I was asking that is because Rick Bucher, I got to set him up with a studio, and we were getting about Utah for Game 4. That's what he said. He said, I need Utah for Game 4. That's what I was thinking, but that's not right.
Utah for Game 4 is correct. That
means that is right. Yeah. Okay, I got confused.
Well, you are lost today. My gosh.
But yeah, no. So let's see.
Oh, how about
120?
How about the Pelicans at plus 165?
That's a good price. But do you really think it's going to happen?
I'd be a little more leery. I think if you make a play, it's probably got to be Utah. How about the Pacers at plus 500? The Pacers are pretty good.
Yeah, but I mean, they're going to really beat Cleveland. I mean, look, the Pacers are good and they're fun to watch. Plus 500, huh?
Yeah, that's a big price. You put $100 on it, you win 500.
Now I'm second guessing. I'm going back to this whole Rick Bucher Utah thing. He told me he needs it for Game 2 in Salt Lake. That's why I said that.
Oh, Game 2. Well, he's an NBA guy.
And that's Monday the 23rd would be Game 2, right?
Monday the 23rd, Steve. No, that's because they play the 16th is Game 2. Jeez. It's the 9th.
What's today's date? I'm all confused.
Yeah, today's date's the 12th.
Oh, you're right. So that does make sense. All right, I got confused.
My God almighty.
I was thinking that today was like the Monday the 23rd is this Monday coming up. That's why I got confused.
No. Jeez. I'll double check the date to make sure he's right. It is Monday the
23rd. Yeah. That's why I got confused. I was thinking that the Monday was the 23rd.
No. All right, you ready to go?
Yeah, sure.
Here's a Sports Bite, Steve Torre, man.